it's 4 AM the morning of the Audax. Just getting ready to go. I'm going to need lots of porridge to get us round. Hopefully it's going to dry up pretty soon when we get going. Yeah, dark, cold, wet. It's not exactly the dream style, is it? But anyway, great when we get going. So we're on our way. Alad's first Audax. How about that? We're heading out towards Chepstow, Wales, and then we're going to come back 317k according to the route book. Should be good. It's one of those mornings where it was kind of wet and black at the start, and I'm guessing the sun has come up, but it's kind of gone brown rather than any, yeah, it's a weird sunrise brown mizzle. Not exactly showing Oxfordshire off at its best, but kind of fitting, I think, for an epic. And we're just coming through Shipton under Wychwood, I think. Sort of starting to get a little bit more Cotswoldy, which is really nice. I think the weather's starting to, dare I say it, perk up. It's still looking pretty grey, isn't it? But there's not much wind, which is nice. The wind is forecast to pick up later. So we're trying to get to Chepstow from Newham, basically, which is kind of heading south before the wind starts to whip up. It's looking possibly like it's going to rain, so I might have to just stop being a cameraman for a bit. This could be interesting. So the iPhone has just died. Hopefully it's going to come back to life again. I thought I'd take a quick photo and to see how send a message to the other half, and that killed the phone. So let's hope for a little bit more success. Anyway, we're at Stowe, kind of 50 odd K in, I think, a bit less. And Cotswold Baguettes had a mega Scotch egg, best thing I've had for ages. And then we're going to crack on. So we've just come out of Stowe, we're coming through a lovely village of Upper Swell, and a bit of a view of that. It was a good time for a situation report. Situation is damp. The road is damp, the air is damp, and I am damp. And starting to look at all these guys with mud guards on quite jealously. The experienced randonneurs who have got nice dry bottoms and dry feet, and mine are quite soggy. Hopefully the sun will shine on me later and will dry out. So we're coming across the top of the Cotswolds. Dare I say it, the sun might actually be coming out. And that would be very much appreciated, because I've got 2 numb feet. And I could do with warming up. If I die tonight, I will die happy. This is the last way of the day. Then you'll head back to the beach. The late sun shines into your just kind of goes up and down. But each time a little bit more up and down. Set it down. Most of the Cotswolds is fairly barren because it's been grazed over the years and all the woodlands and everything cleared off, but you do get a bit of scrub occasionally across the tops of the hills, like here. And actually I remember years ago when I used to drive back and forth along this road quite a lot, and this is the bit where you used to get the snow, because although the top of the Cotswolds is only about, I think, 250 metres, something of that order, it's just enough to be a little bit colder. It's not sort of a microclimate, and if there's even a whiff of snow anywhere, often you get it on this little stretch in this little woodland. The route sheet for this bit of the ride, going over towards Winchester and Stowe in that direction, it was quite lazy. Me being a Audax rookie, I'm not quite sure what that meant, but I think I know. I think it means muddy and puddly and up and down. Just check out that in the background if you can see it on the side of the road as well. I think I'm just wondering what that hill is. I can't remember the name of it. We'll look it up when we get home. But it's just poking up into the clouds. That gives you an idea of how low the clouds are. Yeah, it's really beautiful. Just in this kind of Cotswold farmland here. It's mainly green and brown, but lots of different textures and contrasts. Really nice. I'm not sure how good the view is going to be through the cloud and everything. Yeah, look, it's a bit of blue sky ahead on the rider. And I think, you know, in the background you can see quite close to the elevation. Let's try and get some shots of halfway down. These little hills, we've definitely come down here. Just down there you can see Sudley Castle. Well, it's behind the trees, but we'll no doubt get a glimpse of it in a minute. And I think that's the village of Winchester in the background. From the top of Sudley Hill at 298 metres, it was downhill all the way into Winchester pretty much. It was really nice, wooded tree-lined roads, a fair bit of water around and quite a lot of mud as you can see, but it was absolutely stunning. Pretty steep down here. Nice smooth road though, no, look, lovely new tarmac, 150 million quid apparently it cost. I always call Winchester was hilly. Yeah, it's a really nice place, Winchester. As you can see, absolutely like quintessential Cotswolds. And this is the kind of orangey sort of Cotswold stone that you get out of this side. It's a bit different depending on where you go. Isn't it nice? Good time for a snack, I think, so put the camera down for a sec and we'll have a bit of a homemade energy bar. So I think this is Cleve Hill coming into Cheltenham. I'm just taking it nice and easy. Something about trying to preserve my legs for the next 200 and odd K more. It turns out that Cleve Hill is the highest peak in Gloucestershire and indeed the Cotswolds too. It's 1,083 feet or 333 metres. Well, I'm kind of glad I didn't look that up before the ride. There you have it, Cleve Hill. I hope, I don't know if that is the high point or not of this ride, but that was quite hard. I need to recover a bit for a sec. And the thing about big hills is how quickly you end up at the bottom of them. So disappointing. So situation report, we are coming into the back of Cheltenham. Sunshine is out. I'm still damp. Still got feet that are like blocks of ice. But we're at Cheltenham. As the land started to flatten off, the wind started to rise. And while I should have been enjoying easy miles, the blocks of ice attached to the bottoms of my legs were not exactly helping matters. And to make things worse, the GoPro was on the blink too. A microphone wasn't working, and then shortly afterwards, the whole thing turned into a brick on my arm. I spent quite a few miles cursing the GoPro, pressing all the buttons, holding them down, but to no avail. The damn thing wouldn't come back to life. So we carried on cycling through some nice countryside actually. The sun was out and we went through lots of the flooded areas around this part of the world. Eventually the GoPro miraculously came back to life, probably a bit like my legs too. But for now I just plugged on. I could see the Malvern Hills in the background looking really high, and I could see beyond that what looked like the tips of the Black Mountains in Wales. So we're back with it. The GoPro has just come back to life. And we're in strawberry polytunnel land, just past somewhere called Strawberry Hill. We're not far from Newent, which is the next control point, and we've been kind of meandering through the country lanes. See all the greenhouses there full of strawberries already. Isn't that cool? So yeah, we've had a bit of a technical meltdown on all fronts. The GoPro just has been frozen for the last section of the ride, so apologies for that. But still the Garmin's working, so 1 out of 2 ain't bad. So yeah, I knew we're going to stop because I need a bit of a refuel. My legs are, how are they feeling? They're feeling pretty achy, to be honest. We're about 100k in, and I think the legs themselves will be okay, but below my ankles, my feet are just soaking wet and freezing. Well, I can't feel them, they're just blocks of ice. And you know, it's interesting because the one thing that I haven't really invested any money in is overshoes, and I've been wearing a pair of $5.99 overshoes that I bought in Aldi a few years ago, and for the majority of the riding I do, they're pretty good, nice and warm. They're great, but they got pretty wet in the early part of the ride, and they let the water through, and they're kind of soaked into my shoes, and it's all pretty nasty. And that is just taking the edge off my legs. Anyway, pulling into Newent in a sec, so I'll turn off and switch on when we get there. By this point in the ride, I hadn't had too much to eat. A Scotch egg in Stowe and one of my homemade energy bars. And this is the point when I probably should have started fueling up in advance of the Forest of Dean and the hills ahead. But unfortunately I didn't, and with just a bowl of soup and a flapjack, I was underfueled for all of the Forest of Dean, which I regretted later. And I can feel my feet again, and back on the road, hoping there isn't much of a headwind and we can make it to Chepstow and round the corner before a thumping great tailwind whisks us all the way home. That's the plan anyway. Wonder how close to reality that is going to be. Anyhow, decent stop there. It's a bit longer than we were planning because there was a billion cyclists in the cafe. So we're doing the next section, which is Newent to Chepstow. So basically it's through the Forest of Dean, and the route card said it was hilly as opposed to the previous section, which it didn't. So a bit of a worry. I have cycled through the Forest of Dean once before. A lovely sunny day, nice cruisy ride, nice fresh legs, not like today where it's still pretty cold and starting to get a little bit of a headwind building as the weather, the low pressure systems moving in from the Atlantic. It's forecast to be building all the way through the remainder of this ride. So hoping the hills might give us a bit of shelter and the hedges down through the Forest of Dean. We're going straight into this wind basically, and hopefully turn the corner at Chepstow, get a nice tailwind. But what I'm hoping is we might get some nice footage in the Forest of Dean if the sun comes out. It's pretty nice. Fields of baby daffodils, loads of water. The bit where the GoPro wasn't working, it's a shame I couldn't get any pictures because it was like, I don't know, some kind of causeway through with lakes either side. So yeah, they've had a lot of water here and it's still in the fields. No sooner as I said water, it was the kiss of death for the GoPro, which packed up again. But it did give me a chance to stop on the top of this lovely hill to take the whole thing apart and see if I could get the batteries out and boot it back into life. It had been a big old hill to get up to here, but it was a lovely view. This is a bit of a worry when you see a flood sign, isn't it? Definitely still in flood territory around here. The road, there's a sign back there saying there's a diversion, and it was also saying long delays possible. Neither of which, when coupled with a flood sign, fill me with confidence, but I've been assured this is all passable. And isn't that spectacular? Look at that. It looks like there's still rain ahead and showers. But yeah, well, I get the kind of real feeling that we're close to Wales here. I love all that kind of, that type of countryside. Isn't that nice? Sun's out. Just come down a big hill into this bottom of this valley, and it's well, it's just completely different, isn't it, to some of the places I filmed in Oxfordshire, and really steep sided hills, and no doubt we're going to be going up another hill soon. And look, sheep up the track, and these lovely quiet lanes, hardly a soul. Just the sheep grazing, that's about it. squirrel. Look at that little fella. I suppose that's the only downside if you're on a bike. There's an awful lot of up and down. What I love about cycling in these sorts of places, apart from the irritating noise of my pedals squeaking away, all you hear is pretty much birdsong. And I mean, I haven't a clue what's what, but there's so much variety. I don't know how well it picks up on the microphone. But they're just calling back and forth across the road, it seems, to each other. Not bothered at all about me grinding away up the middle. We're in some fantastic old forest here. Really big old oak trees. It's really nice. This guy just stopped back there, just having a break. I don't blame him because really nice spot just to chill out. It's actually hard to overestimate how nice the Forest of Dean is for cycling. I mean, you get used to the endless hills, but I definitely would go back to this spot where the guy was sat underneath the tree, relaxing. It was beautiful. As I went through the trees, I tried to grab lots of footage because the light and the woods and the water and everything was just absolutely stunning. When I looked at my average speed of the ride after I'd done it, I was definitely going a lot slower in this section. And I'm sure most of that was the hills. But the other bit, I'm sure, was also the fact the views were fantastic and I was taking them all in and going a little bit slower. And this is a great route. I've never cycled down here, but I can totally see why someone thought it'd be a good idea. It's pretty nice, isn't it? Hard to know what to say about it. It's Sudbury Park, I think it said. It's nice, isn't it? Really kind of heavy pine trees and beech trees. A little bit darker under the canopy of the trees. Lots of kind of rotting vegetation on the side, isn't there? Actually, I mean, if you can just get a glimpse of those trees, they're enormous. I mean, they're not kind of, maybe not kind of redwood size, but I'm thinking, they're not going off for 100 foot, they're really big. Fantastic. These ancient bits of the Forest of Dean are home to some massive trees over 35 metres, and the forest itself is over 400 years old, I think, but here it thins out, smaller trees and lots of lovely smooth fast road. And you can see from the water on the camera it was all pretty wet and drizzly down here, and suddenly we've been kind of going through this kind of mizzle down there, and the sun just came out for a moment there and caught the light completely changed in the trees. It's gone again. Tell you what, there's an awful lot of up and down in the Forest of Dean. Streams flowing down in the bottom of the trees there. You can hear the water rushing. This is the sort of thing down this area, isn't it? Sheep just wandering around in the village with the baby lambs. Isn't that cute? I'm not quite at the top yet. I feel like I've been climbing for miles and miles. Never ending. This place. Pretty hard. Chepstows. I don't know. I think it's at least another 15k. I hope it's not as heavy as this. Because and as I approached the top of this hill in Bream, I was feeling completely knackered. Looking back at the map afterwards, it's not that high, it's just a couple hundred metres. But it was probably the best part of 3k, maybe a little bit more. It just went on and on. We've just gone top to bottom on the Forest of Dean. Not quite there yet, almost. And it's bloody hilly, I tell you. Bloody hilly. My legs are absolutely like jelly. Look at that. And then just as I was starting to question if my legs were going to keep going, something came into view. That's the sight for sore eyes, I tell ya. So we're 4.5 miles to Chepstow. Look at that. It's a kind of, it's a really brown white today, isn't it? I mean, I live in the 70s. The whole sky is brown, everything is just brown. And look, there's a sign here for Offa's Dyke. So seeing a signpost for Offa's Dyke can only mean one thing. We must be near Wales. Wales. Chepstow Bridge. And if the River Severn had been a sight for sore eyes, Chepstow was even more so. It looked absolutely brilliant as I came in. Without pause for thought, I followed another rider and headed straight to the Tesco's control point, where I got a big sandwich, triple bounty, and what was by now mandatory, a large latte from the Costa. It's quite exciting, going across the Severn Bridge. As I was cycling along the edge of this cycle lane, looking down, it felt like hundreds of feet. And you just don't get the sense of this in the car. This bridge is absolutely immense. It's an amazing piece of engineering. So I thought it was a good time to check in, because we're over halfway on the way to Malmesbury, but happily it's a lot flatter and we've had section to tailwind, so the average speed is much more pleasing. It was just diabolical going through the Forest of Dean, not even going to mention it. Coming out of Chepstow, some cruisy miles there, which I needed to kind of recharge the legs a little bit, not that really going to get charged. That's wishful thinking. But yeah, I was in pieces in the Forest of Dean. It's remarkable what a combination chicken sandwich and a Costa can do for your legs. Here it is. I have to confess, I've never had a triple bounty. So, Somerset Monument apparently. I don't know if we are in Somerset, but we've just come up a monster hill. Look, it says 14% on the sign. Felt like it. I was cursing my set. Well done. Killing it. Absolutely killing it.
20% there.
No, it felt a bit more than that, didn't it?
Yeah.
You look like you haven't even broken a sweat. Yeah. This event as well, it's a bit of an epic. As I was coming at 20% climb, the guy was telling me this is his 4th attempt trying to do this event. And not that he didn't finish it, but 2 years in the snow, I don't know if it was called off or he thought better of it, but didn't do it. Last year was Storm Gareth, and some hardy folk, and I get the impression there's quite a few hardy folk in this grad, gave it a go. Most people bailed, kind of on the verge of, if not unhappiness, hypothermia. So plenty of people got trained back in snow and places, Chepstow, and only 3 people finished apparently last year. But, you know, and there's 140 plus started this year, so it gives you an idea for 3 to finish out that kind of proper hardcore. Not like me, big softy. I wouldn't have even got out of bed, and I think it's funny, I suspect a few people did get out of bed this morning because it wasn't very nice, it was really damp and cold. Hey, we're in the Malmesbury, that was the sign. So, this is the other control point. It's still a long way to go. That'll be quite an achievement for me. Quite a nice milestone. So, I have to confess, I don't know much about Malmesbury, but it sounds nice, doesn't it? Not a clue where we're going. Not sure anyone would probably like the look of me in my cyclist either. So I'll pick my venue with care. That looks nice, doesn't it? So, it's 5 o'clock. We've been on the road since 6 this morning, 11 hours, and done 208 kilometres. So we're averaging, I think around about 19 kilometres an hour, including the stops. So, ETA at that rate of progress will be about 10:30 tonight. Heading east at the moment and ticking along at 40k an hour. It's got a bit of a tailwind, not a huge tailwind. It's a bit across the side actually, but it's enough just to speed me along a bit. So, the plan is to try and the legs hold up, try and scoot through the remaining controls. We've got an information control at Marlborough coming up. Then we've got memory services control, which is just across the M4. Then there's another information control at Badminton. And from there, it's not a huge distance back. See how the legs hold up. See how this wind holds up. See what it's like in the dark. Cross everything. So, I think we've just crossed the M4. Certainly seemed big enough to be the M4. It's got a left turn coming up and we're going to sort of go parallel to it. I have no real clue where we are, other than know we're somewhere near Marlborough, because that's not too far away now. Sky's looking pretty threatening, but it's not forecast to rain, so fingers crossed. Said that a lot today, haven't I? So I doubt we're going to be able to see this because it's probably too dark and it's too far away, but there's a white horse on that hill. It's one of two I believe that we're going to go past, somewhere near Marlborough. Still haven't quite got there. A bit of a headwind here, so it's slowed us down a little bit. But anyway, keep going. Rather worryingly, this hill with the white horse on looks to be directly in front of me. It looks very steep. So we've just gone through Broadtown. You should be able to see that white horse there. And we got this thumping great hill directly ahead. Me no likey. It's very steep, very high. You can see we just come up this hill. White horse on it. And totally done for me. Now we're into a headwind, which I don't understand. Hopefully downhill, but I can see some more hills ahead. It's kind of Wiltshire Downs, I think. It's kind of one of those eerie skies, isn't it? Like in the background still got a tinge of brown in it. I'll get out all day. Going up over that next white hill. And as I passed the white horse on the second white horse hill, I knew then there was only one more big hill between me and the way home. And that was Overton Hill, a hill I knew well at the start of the Ridgeway, 571 feet, marking the beginning of the trail. And for me, a long ride downhill across the Wiltshire Downs. And shortly after the water, I went through fields of grazing pheasants, all getting ready to roost. And then the darkness started to come down as I got the information control, and then it was completely dark all of a sudden, and I went on into the night. So we're going along, pitch black, in the middle of nowhere, and all the birds have gone up to roost. I'm going at something called White Hill. It's a bit unexpected because in the dark you've got no idea how steep it is. It's probably a good thing actually. I'm in the bottom gear, 10 kilometres an hour. Pretty tired, but hopefully it's not too much further to Membry. I know there's not a lot to see. I just thought I'd just take a few upwards and backwards. And there's a few buildings around here, but it's really dark. It's unbelievably quiet. There's odd car and stuff around, but apart from that, nothing. Eerily quiet, and yeah, now here, really dark. If it was a clear night, you'd get an amazing view of the stars out. And I think we're getting pretty close to the M4. Could be famous last words. I thought that about Marlborough. And I doubt on Marlborough by about 11k because I think there was an error in the brevet card. Yeah, anyway, it was a lot further than I was anticipating. Quite demotivating. So we made it to the glorious Membry services, and It's probably about 60 odd K, 65K back from here. Yeah, pretty cooked. A few other guys have been through, as you can see. Hey ho. So we're at Buckland, and to the left is this lovely church. I don't think I've ever seen it in the lit up at night time. Doesn't look anywhere near as impressive in the daytime. But cool. So I'm heading to Bampton, not far from here, I think. Get our control, then get on the road. So coming into Bampton, we're looking for control. So we are at the toll bridge. So, from my reckoning, we're getting pretty close. Happy days. Oxford Town Centre. And with the end almost in sight, I could back off a little bit and enjoy the sights of Oxford late on a Saturday night. And I pondered the questions, and I wondered if I'd found the answers. I thought about what I'd learnt, what had gone well, what hadn't gone so well, what had surprised me, and what might I do differently next time. Or maybe I'll put some of that stuff down in another film at some point. But for now, you've probably had enough of this. And so, I meandered back through the quiet city streets, towards the park and ride, to get my final control point, my final receipt, to prove that I had done the D300. And with my first Audax done, I felt like I could call myself a Randonneur. If I die tonight, I'll die happy. If I die tonight, I'll die happy. This is the last wave of the day. Then you'll head back to the beach. The late sun shines into your eyes. It doesn't matter. You have been glad to be out here, solitary. Everything's different out here. Wild and crazy, merry. Oh.